Hey YouTube family, how is it going? Today is, March 12th, 11th, 12th? I don't know. It's in the middle of the week, about Wednesday. I've realized that I've been showing some things in my most recent videos that I haven't explained very well because my last videos I had published before this recent set of videos, the last video I published was 4 years ago. So there was a gap that I didn't go back and review my videos and like rewatch them myself to kind of see where the last ones were. I jumped in immediately to do the shout out video for Miss Backyard Gardener, and she really brought me back. She really did, because I saw what she was up to, and I was like, oh, there might be something she can take from what I'm doing. I would really love for her to have an opportunity to see what I'm doing to maximize her space, because a lot of people, just think that you have to put fruit trees real far apart. My whole thing was, I think when I see somebody have an opportunity to plant trees, that it gets me excited. I'm like, I want you to do your thing, but I want to make sure you know all the various ways you could do it to make sure you get the best result, because I'm excited about all this. I mean, clearly I'm a nerd. I am a dork. Look at this. Who does this? Okay? I don't wear no jewelry. I don't wear watches. I don't wear fancy clothes. This is it. It's me. Strangely enough, I'm actually an IT professional. I've run over 1 million square foot warehouse just by myself, all infrastructure type stuff. I look like this, but can't judge people by their cover. The thing is, I talk too much, I talk too long, and I don't explain everything. I did a lot of assuming of what y'all knew, and that's not based in reality. So let me explain a little bit. And what I want to start with is things I think people would think badly about, like leaving this stuff in here or doing this around these. I've heard people saying that'll cause rat problems, rodent problems, and I can't disagree. We, one year in our garden, did have a small rodent problem. They ate a couple of tomatoes, and we know it wasn't field mice, because I do have a big wild easement back there, because I caught some of them in some traps. Even caught some up in here with a trap that's up under there. The chicken coop, I'm not going to go into it yet, but yeah, I get what it looks like. It's because I never put a roof on it, and I had this old tarp. And there's a saying that things that are meant to be temporary often become permanent. I think I saw that on, the folks building the log cabin up in Idaho. Gosh, I forgot their names. Anyway, what's temporary becomes permanent. So yeah, that temporary thing has been there for years now. I just never put a roof on there, so that protected it. And I'm lazy. I'm not gonna lie. So let's go back to this. This is this thing here. Hey, buddy. Yeah, he's drinking. I have a friend's son over, and he's excited that Hank's drinking. You may not need to do this where you're at. I do need to do this because of my soil. I understand. Hold on just a second. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, he's cute as a button. All right, so I am doing this for a purpose. This tree that dried up, the ground bakes in front of it. This box is a great idea for my clay. However, again, going back to how this is the front face of this whole area, this strip of grass would almost die off. The clay becomes a hard pan, and I can water these boxes all summer trying to keep it going, but I realized, you really have to be watering out here. These trees' roots are not all in them boxes, and I can water those boxes and they'll stay good for a day or two, but oftentimes the water runs through the box, hits the clay, kind of wants to run out, because the clay is so dry, it's not absorbent, it's hydrophobic. There's so many situations that made it to where I'm trying to water out here. Trying to water this yard without irrigation, it's a failure. It takes 2 hours more, something like that, because during the worst seasons we've had here, Texas is going to get 110 degrees every summer. If it ain't 110 yet, it's going to be at one point, and for extended periods of time sometimes, over months sometimes. This whole yard turned into a moonscape of cracks and horrificness of the clay in a hard drought year. These, again, trying to water this, you would come through and try to deep water. Sit here with the water hose on full blast, no head on it, just straight water coming out of the hose. And I'd sit here for 3 to 4 or 5 minutes each plant, soaking the entire box all the way through, all around the edge, coming out here. There's roots out here because I've accidentally uncovered them. They have roots. This is already, it just rained 3 or 4 days ago. It's already getting hard, and it's already getting to where it won't take water. It doesn't take long. It can live with this as long as it doesn't get 110 very much. But this prevents that from happening. Well, we're going to see it better this year. But there's also another thing I mentioned to y'all. Again, I don't script any of these videos, so I'm just all over the place with my narration. I get it. Just bear with me, please. I told y'all that I let sunflowers grow wild in this yard every year, and I know that sounds crazy, like, well, you don't see that, right? You've never seen it. Hey, buddy. But you can't imagine that this is fooled, this whole thing, with, go over there, bye. Go over there. There you go. This 6 foot tall sunflowers. You can't imagine it right now because you don't see it. But here's the proof. These are sunflower stalks. I mean, literally, most of this, I put down the big logs, then layers of the stalks, then grass clippings, then leaves, and all this material was just in the yard. Some of this is from that oak tree we tore down. But when you get up under here, guys, okay, I don't know how well y'all can see it, but oh, look at that. That is just beautiful. It's wet, it's moist, it's breaking down. Look, it's sticky. But it's not up on the surface, is it? It's very dry, very crisp. If this is the first inch of soil, these trees suffer. If the soil is like this, the first couple inches, it suffers. This is moist under there, at least right up to the edge of the box, right? And look, it's very moist down here. Very, very well. I guess y'all can see it. Yeah, it's very wet, very wet. That's lovely. That's the reason I'm doing that. Does it harbor rats and mice? Before I was really even doing that, we had some. Hank took care of a bunch of them. A mouse trap took care of the rest, and we've never had them back. I know if we have them because they eat my vegetables. We don't feed Hank outside. That way his dog food isn't out here feeding rodents during the night. We figured out that's something that they do. And we haven't fed Hank outside in years. But the neighbors had 2 big German Shepherds for a long time. They did feed them outside, so there was our neighborhood rat problem. But those dogs were older, and they both passed away in the same year, a couple years ago. And ever since that, then we don't have any other neighbors with dogs. We haven't had a mouse problem hardly. Is there occasional field mouse and stuff in here? Oh yeah. I wouldn't call it a rodent infestation, because this would all be infested. And Hank, as y'all see him patrol in my videos, he is not trying to let nothing live here. He doesn't like my lizards. Even if I go in my compost pile, I'm not going to find any mice or anything. Even if I start looking, I might find a frog or a turtle. We do have tortoises. But just the whole thing about using the sunflowers and things like that for biomaterial is a great concept in our soil. It might not be something you need to do, but realize it is a free resource. And this is why, for me, my example is not your example. This is our soil. I mean, guys, can you hear it? It's hard as a rock. I can take it. I can try to scratch it. Am I scratching it? No. I'm breaking this. Still got it. But just a few inches, it's moist. All right, now that looks horrible. In all honesty, yes, swimming pool sat here forever for the water, so it's compacted. Here's what it looks like. Same thing, dry but broken up. Now this almost looks like decent soil. Well, sure, but until you get it wet and it turns into that, well, then what are you know what I mean? So it can be good, and when it breaks up like this, it seems all right. And look there, it don't actually soften enough for me to run my fingers through. This, again, this spot is special because it had that on it. So it's weird. This is weird soil. It does work better. That was a giant crack that we've been filling with wood debris. This was a massive crevasse through the yard at one point. And it does that. There's another big cracks. So when you do this, you get better results. It's not perfect, but it's something. And I know this doesn't look good, but if I stop adding stuff to this for 1 year, this will just be a grass. It'll go right back to native. Look at that. I ain't put no mulch in. You see the difference? Bam. If this became an issue, like, oh, that's just ugly, I'll take the fence down. It'll grow over. I ain't worried about it. It'll be gone, but guess what? That bed I built up under there, it's still there. Also, lined this, there's another thing I haven't shown you all of this. There's tree trunks that line this. I was trying to create a way to trap water. I don't know if I can get my phone level so that y'all can tell that the yard's higher over there. This kind of slopes from the road down towards the middle of my yard, and of course my house is up kind of up on a hill because all houses have to drain away from themselves, right? So there's a V in the middle of the yard that collects the water. The V is through this area, comes down through here, follows these cracks and stuff, and it drains to the lower part of the yard. That's the lower part of the yard. Again, it's higher at the house, lower in the middle, higher over here. I didn't want, when this clay, again, we might get a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch of rain in the middle of the summer that we really need, but if it hits that hard, dry clay and it just rushes off and goes to collects in the middle, it did me no good here, right? And while the trees will eventually grow roots there, you forget that. So I put these logs, and I did take the clay, try to build up behind it to make a berm, to make like a mini swale in here to hold some of that water, so that if we do get that 1/4 inch, it stays in this. These logs absorb the water and become spongy. They hold the water after it's gone and release it slowly. So there is so many. These are some of the oldest ones. This is 4 years worth of tearing down old shrubs that used to be in the front of the house. On that side by the berry patch, there used to be some giant shrubs. Every old thing that's ever been cut down in this yard is in here. That old oak tree, it's in here. Anything. And then every year we add leaves, and every year we add the sunflower stalks. And right now you're seeing branches from before I threw the leaves down this fall, but there's going to be sunflower stalks in there too, and all kinds of stuff. But hell, they already broke down. Look at there. That's one right there. That's a sunflower stalk that's crumbled to dirt almost. Perfect. And they're in layers. And in layers. And I've been doing this for about 4 years. Look how deep it goes. Look, but it's so soft. Look, it just crushes. Ooh, look, tree roots. And there's my proof. There's my trees right there, showing me that this is not the clay. The clay, I have new, oh, there's the clay right down there. But I can still run my fingers in it. Oh my goodness, you guys. Look at that. That clay has got that organic matter now infiltrated. Just like they always said. I ain't never really dug this up. I did this for y'all. So y'all are seeing this with me. This clay, because while it still does that, look, it still break up. That's infusion of organic material by doing this technique. And I got tree roots. I'm trying not to break them. But yeah, this is working out great. Might get a few extra wraps, but that's okay. I got a hank. And I got chickens. And I promise you one thing, when them chickens get a hold of a mouse, they eating it. So while it doesn't look all that attractive, and again, because I haven't cut all this down, I didn't have enough leaves this year. There was kind of a shortage. My kids are getting older, and they're getting embarrassed to carry leaf bags down the road for me. I'm a dad. They're going to carry my junk for me. I don't care who you are. So that's what we've been doing. I agree how it looks, but I don't care because I'm growing trees. I'm not growing looks. And that's part of that oak tree that's back there. It's all rotted down. This is wonderful. Giant funguses growing off the sides of it. Even the trees that didn't do good, like the apples and the pears, they still have this to them. And I have this in the middle now for, I'm sure if I didn't add anything else, this would be fertile for at least the next 7 years. If I added nothing else. Take about 5 to 7 years to all those logs, everything to rot down. And I do need to come back in here and cut some of that up. But I did want to show y'all that to explain it. It has been a godsend. I haven't had to fertilize anything. I don't fertilize trees anyway, to be honest with you. But that is fertilizer. That's the trick. This is my proof. I ain't add no phosphorus, no extra flower power, you know what I mean? I didn't add nothing to this, and yet these are the results I'm getting. And it ain't because of this. It ain't because of this mess. It's because of that right over there. You see what I'm saying? Now, do you have to do this? I don't know. I don't know what your soil looks like. This is what I'm doing because I know what I've been through for enough years here to understand this is what's the problem. Here's an old crack. Okay, it went up under the tree box. That was horrible. And it went over here, and Hank started digging it out because crickets would run up under my garden. The crack literally went through the garden. Crazy. Hank dug all this out. There used to be some mulchy stuff here, so I don't like seeing these uncovered like this. And you can see he's been digging again. Tore up a root. I want to fill this back in, but the chickens and dog just gonna tear it all back up. So that's the thing, you guys. That's why we're doing this. This is a fresh one. This is the most new setup. This one's branches from the plums and stuff. Whole bunches and bunches. There is tons of sunflowers. Y'all would be shocked at how many sunflowers this is in my yard. I can't wait for y'all to see that. Y'all gonna be like, oh my goodness. This dude's crazy. And that's the thing. The sunflowers are already here, guys. I can't get rid of them. Unless I mow if I let any of them go to seed, it's just they're everywhere. I say I could probably take it over and show you a patch where I can see them everywhere. Let me pause it first. Yeah. Try the in-flight pause feature. So right here. This is all sunflowers. Wait, that's sunflowers. All this is sunflowers. Literally, some of the stuff that's holding up these fences is old sunflower stalks that have grown through these fences over the years. This is a sunflower stalk growing through here. This whole thing is sunflowers. Look, all of this. Most of this is sunflowers. Some of this is actually some dollar weed, but there's a lot of the sunflowers all through this. This whole yard is going to turn into an ocean. Another profile we haven't done yet. I discovered that these are wild onions. these are awesome. They're little shallot looking onions, and they make great seeds out here, so we like that. I'm gonna try to cultivate these. I think they'd be good to barbecue if you put them on skewers and things. It might be kind of neat. So without going too far into the plants and everything else, that's what I wanted to show y'all. This was a cage to keep chickens from digging around here. And again, to add a fertilizer to this, I just stuff it with leaves every year. All these fences are because of chickens and Hank. Again, clay soil, not so great. It's decent, it's not horrible, but it ain't great. But then if I go in here, watch what this has done to these plants. Look at the roots. It's growing roots way up here because I keep doing this. Now, where are my roots, guys? They're out of the clay soil. They're above the ground. Getting air. Ooh, there's a snake. It's not a poisonous one, guys, just grass snakes. But look at all that. This is free, guys. I paid nothing for these leaves except my children's embarrassment for carrying them down the street. Anyway, go ahead and put that back. Use the free stuff. Rob don't fertilize, Rob don't spray. I did start spraying those, I'm gonna lie. But use your free stuff. Start throwing it in, maybe you don't have boxes. If you have your trees and you have your little mulch mound around it, don't be afraid to use yard clippings and everything else. Keep building that mulch pile up because it's going to go away eventually if you stop, so it's not going to hurt it to do it. Anyway, video's rambling. Let me let you guys go, and we'll talk to you soon.